What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another day in Car Mechanic Simulator with me, the Virtual Mechanic, and today's beautiful project, our Audi RS6 Avant DTM. This thing is going to be insane and wild looking. Cannot wait to get stuck into this. The competition has ended. We do know the winners officially, but at the time of recording, I don't quite know the winners. I will announce them on Monday on the channel. They will be announced a bit later on. They will have already been announced by the time you see this video. There we go. Got myself a bit confused there. This is what we're going to be working on today. I've made a few tiny little changes to this one. Just because, one of them is the engine cover. I don't like the engine cover that's on this. It just sits floating above the engine. And I don't particularly like it very much. And the other thing is I brought these shocks down. They were just set a little bit too high. So I just lowered them down a little bit. Just thought I'd get that one out of the way so that people go, why doesn't mine look like that? We already know the answer. I went into the car editor, brought them down a little bit, and removed that engine cover. But let's talk about this beast then. It is obviously the RS6 Avant DTM with just over 100,000 kilometers on this one. We got it from the auction house, and it's not bad. I've definitely seen a lot worse. Frames at 50%, parts are at 50% or just under. Body is terrible, and the interior is terrible. The body is terrible because we are missing most of the panels all the way around the outside, so that explains most of that. And I'm assuming the ones that are left are still in pretty bad condition. Did I get a good deal on it, though, considering how bad of shape it's in? I did, but only just. I'll take it. 44,743 is what I paid for it, and I could sell it for 46,304, making a tasty little profit of 1,561 before we even begin. But we won't be doing that. The engine in this beast is the V8 double overhead cam AXK engine with 973 factory horsepower. We will be adding performance parts to that one. Make this engine as absolutely bonkers wild and as insane as we can. This is what we're going to be working on today, but we need to get this beast started. So let's get it over to the car wash. Let's get it cleaned up. Here we are then with the RS6. Let's get it cleaned. What have we got going underneath this dust and grime? I'm assuming there's a livery on it. There is. This is the livery that's going to stay on it, although it looks very faded. I'm hoping we can make it look a little bit better than that a little bit later on. This is the Gumball 3000 livery by French Toast. Let's get the interior cleaned. Let's get this beast back on the lifter. Start stripping everything down. Rip that engine out. Get this one ready to go back together all shiny and new. That's the beautiful RS6 in the air. Let's check for that oil pan. There is an oil pan there, so we need to drain it out. 100,000 kilometers on this one. How dirty is the oil? Not bad. I've definitely seen worse, but I have definitely seen a better. Let's get underneath then and see what we've got going on with this little beast. It is a four-wheel drive. Is it connected? Are we missing a part? It's not quite connected, but never mind. Sometimes we use our imaginations here. So we need to get this main drive shaft out, so let's start with that. 2 rusty bolts right off the bat. 1 there and 1 there. Out you come and out you come there. Then the 4 bolts at the front, nice and easy. Then we can grab the little starter. At least we know it's not missing. And then out with that big beast of a gearbox there. Out you come. We don't have the front exhaust sections. There aren't any front exhaust sections by the looks of that. So the exhaust just goes from there. Fair enough. Let's get in and try and rip that engine out of there. Then see if we missed anything. Down you go. Grab the engine crane. Let's get it over to the car. And let's see if we can pull it out. We can indeed, exactly what we like. Let's get the crane put away and see what we've got going on inside this wonderful engine bay then. So we got the coolant reservoir, a power steering reservoir, and our lovely air filter and cover just there. We got an ABS pumper module, ECU stage B, ECU type B, a brake servo, wishy-washy reservoir, cheeky little fuse box just up there, a secondary air filter, and then that fan housing and radiator kit there. Down the back, we've got our fuel tank and fuel pump, so it does all look like it's there. Anything missing? No, just how we like it. So let's get in and get these liquids drained. Right-click, additional tools, drain tools. Click and hold on the container, and it'll drain it all out. You should all know that by now. I'm going to get the rest of this all stripped out. Then we're going to get everything repaired, replaced, or upgraded. When we come back, it's time to work on the bodywork of this beautiful RS6. That's everything for the engine and suspension repaired, replaced, and upgraded, ready to be painted and go back on. But before we get to that, we need to strip all of this body out. So let's get it all off, starting with that hood and that glorious front bumper there. What have we got or not got here? Let's just keep going around, see what we can find. That rear bumper's definitely a thing. Tail light, that's a window. Out you come. That looks like it might be it. Not 100%. I can see there's a steering wheel in there. And maybe that rear bench steering wheel. No, the rear bench is part of the frame. Nice and easy. Well, is that everything then? I can't see much more else. So let's have a look. 1% on the body. Did I get everything? Oh, I have indeed. Liking that. Now, the frame's at 50%. And I bought the car for just under 45,000. So I'm going to say 750. 1520. Really, really, really bad at that. Let's just jump into the body shop very quickly for the RS6. You can see lots of different parts to play around with. Front bumpers, or front grills, should I say. Front bumpers. There's the engine cover that I'm definitely not using. We are sticking with all the DTM stuff. I believe it's these ones here with the little X-Man logo. Don't know what to call that. But I think that's all the stuff with, yeah, that looks like it, because that's definitely the rear bumper for it. So we're going to be looking out for all of this stuff. If you want to do yours of wide body, look out for them. That one's got a splitter, things like that. Lovely labels in there. We're definitely going for the one with the roof box because it looks insane. But at the back, probably for black badges, because I like black badges. They look pretty good. Do we have black badges at the front? We do indeed. So I can definitely make this one look cool. So there we go. Let's start getting it all back together. The frame's all sorted now. I'll see you in a minute for reassembly before we head over to the paint shop. I've got everything to go back on the RS6, so let's start getting it back together. I didn't manage to salvage a lot of this. Only the front and rear bumper was the only two parts I managed to salvage. So let's get the rest of it on. Just a plain hood, only one option there. We did go for the tinted headlights, looking pretty mean. And the front end, this one here, is specifically for it. But does have the black rings on it, so it looks pretty good on there. Very pleased with that. Windshield with the roof box, as I said we were going to, is the specific DTM part, which is all the ones with these little X-Man on them on there. So there we go. Front fenders, doors, even these are part of the body kit for it. There we go, and there we go. Then we've got the side skirts plus rear fenders on there, looking pretty mean. This part could have been swapped, but there isn't any options. Then we've got the specific windows for them with the number and labeling on it there, looking good. I did change the mirrors, though, out to the carbon fiber mirrors because we have got a lot of carbon on here, so I thought, why not match it all up there? Looking pretty good. Rear bumper, did manage to repair that once. That was good. Trunk, didn't keep the same trunk. We went for the black badges on there, keeping with the RS6 badges. Although I think this trunk's going to be very dark. Still keeping the dark badges nonetheless. Then we've gone for the blacked out lights on it, obviously, because we like them. They look cool. Trunk window, in you go. And then car part one, which is these double spoilers, a little bit down there. And a big one up there, looking pretty good. Let's get the rest of this all in. In you go, in you go, in you go. Window, window, mirror, and fender. There we go. That should be all of that. Pretty confident it is. For the license plates today, we just went with our VM plates with Gumball written on them, considering this is a Gumball car. Looking pretty awesome. And we are definitely sticking with this livery, by the way. It is cool looking, and I like how it comes out. So there we go. I think that's everything for the exterior. We are swapping some of the interior, so let's get it in. Steering wheel, we are keeping as the M3 steering wheel because it looks good in there. But the seats, definitely swapping out to them at Nismo Recaro seats. My favourite seats. They look awesome, and if I was doing a Gumball rally, I don't know if that kind of seat I would want to sit for the whole time, but there we go. We'll figure that out later. Much more about the aesthetic. Now, is that everything? 100%, 100%, 100%. Absolutely fantastic. Let's get this beast into the paint shop. Get some colour onto it. Well, here she is then in that Gumball livery, looking absolutely beautiful. Loving this. I believe it's by French Toast. It doesn't specifically say anywhere, but I believe it is. Looking brilliant in that sort of three-tone camo with a bit of the BetSafe X-Man on there. Don't know what's called that, but looking pretty sweet. We've added a bit of colour on the inside, a little bit of red to them seats there, looking pretty sweet, and a little bit of that body-coloured sort of colour on the steering wheel there. Body-coloured sort of colour. I think that kind of works. You can see it sort of blended into this. Same as the base colour of the car. It's very similar to this as well. Looking pretty nice. That's more evident inside the engine bay. A lot of black. A little bit of that sort of bluey silver colour on there. So we can add in some black. A little bit of red. We've even got some white or these other sort of darker sort of greys on there that we could play around with as well. So it's time to start getting everything painted. Got to get all the engine done. All the suspension painted and ready to go. Then we can start getting this beautiful Audi all back together, ready to hit up the drag strip and see what it can do. That's everything painted on the DTM Gumball Run beautiful RS6. Let's start getting some of the shocks together, or suspension together. On the shocks, we've got a dark grey with a pearl red and a dark grey cap on the top there. Let's just get a little bit of torch on it so you can see it. Looking pretty good on there. Let's get you off and let's start getting some of this into the car. Starting with the front suspension cross member, which is in that darker grey. Then we've got the sway bar and the steering rack both in the lighter grey. There's very little difference between them, but there is a little bit of difference. It is there. The front knuckle is in the darker grey. Then we've got the inner tie rod in the dark grey and the outer tie rod in the light grey on there. Looking good. The lower suspension cross arm, whatever you want to call it, is in that light grey. Looking pretty tasty. On you go. We'll get that shock on now. It is very compressed, but you can still just about see that red spring through it there. Then we got the sway bar end link, which we've just done in a little black on there. Let's just get some bushings in. In you go. And in you go there. Then we got the knuckle cover, which is in a light grey on there, looking quite nice. Then we got the wheel hub, which is in a black. In you go with a bearing. On you go. Then we've got the front drive axle, which doesn't connect to anything. We just got it in a black. Again, using our imagination, sometimes we have to. Then we got the brake disc, brake pad, and then just to finish it all off, a lovely chrome red brake caliper on there for the splash of red in the suspension. Or the second splash of red in the suspension, should I say. Looking pretty good. The difference between the colours is very, very minimal, but there is a little bit there. You can just about see it. Looking awesome. Let's get down the back. If I could get down the back, we'll use an exhaust in the middle. There we go. Rear suspension cross member in the light grey, so slightly opposite to the front with the sway bar in the dark grey on there. Then we've got the knuckle in the light grey, and then we've got a few bits to go in, starting with a small rubber bushing down here. And two big rubber bushings up here, one over this side and one over this side. Then we go down to the little lower arm, which is just in a matte black. On you go, looking good. Onto the other side, the bit that holds the spring is just in a matte black on there, with the spring cap in the dark grey, the spring in a lovely pearl red, and the topper in a lovely dark grey as well. Sway bar end link at the back, just in a black. Let's carry on going around. We've got the upper suspension arm, which we've got in the darker grey. I'm getting confused with my colours there. Darker grey, definitely the darker one. And the side arm there, just in the darker grey. One more bushing, in you go. Bolted up nicely. Then we got the shock absorber, which we've done in the same grey as the front. Looking quite nice, which is the darker grey on there. Then we got the wheel hub, knuckle cover, whatever you want to call it, in the dark grey, with the hub in the black. Always get confused between them because some of them, sometimes they're worded wrong. Then we got the rear drive axle, which is also just in a little black on there. Brake disc, brake pad, and obviously that lovely chrome red brake caliper. There we go. Not too much red on this one today. Just a little bit of splashing. Looking pretty tasty. Then we've got to move on to the fuel tank, which is in the dark grey, and the fuel pump, which is in that light grey. And just while we're here, I'm just going to point out, I missed these at the beginning, two lovely fuse boxes. I have since stripped them out and got all the parts ready to go back in them, but they are there, so we'll get them back in a minute. We'll throw the battery on it just because we're here, and that's it for the suspension for the moment. I'm going to crack on and get the other half finished, then we'll move on to the engine the engine bay, plus these little fuse boxes before we go and build that beautiful V8 engine. That's all the suspension finished in a lovely two-tone grey. Bit hard to see, but you can see there are two different shades of grey in there, with a bit of black and some splashes of red just to finish it off. Looking fantastic. What do you guys all think? Do let me know in the comments below. But let's crack on and get this engine bay all sorted. Struggling with the English language. Power steering reservoir in you go. A coolant reservoir in there. Then up here we've got the ABS pump, which we've done in a light grey, but because it's metallic, got a sort of funny colour, but I quite like it, so we went with the same for the module on top of there. Looking quite nice. ECU Type B in you go. Fuse box, we've got two-toned. We've got a dark grey and a light grey on there, and if we just nip down the back, not that far, a little bit less, there we go. Down there, we've got the grey and the black on there, alternating, looking pretty smart. Back up the front, he says he's made a mistake. There we go, back up the front. Oh, it's all going wrong. There we go. Brake servo in you go. Wishy-washy reservoir in there. Then we've got the air filters. Now, these are alternating colours. Black base, grey base. Get the air filters in you go, and in you go. Then we want the grey lid and the black lid on that side. So they're alternating colours with the two-tone, looking pretty cool. And then round the outside, all 4 red clips, just to throw a splash more red in there. Looking pretty tasty. One more red piece to go in the engine bay. You can all pretty much guess what that is. I say one more. Actually, 3 more red pieces, but we'll get to that in a second. All of them clips in there. Fantastic. Then we got the radiator, which is in that metallic red. Looking lovely. Fan housing kit's in a black with 2 chrome red fans on there just to finish it off. Looking quite tasty in there, if I do say so. Let's take a quick look. Over the top there, you've got the 2 different air filters. You can just about see underneath, and you can definitely see the red clips on them. As for the radiator, it's tucked a bit far back, but you can just about see it from that front grille there. Looking pretty sweet. But now, we need to go and build that beautiful V8 engine. So in we go. We've got the oil pan in a light grey. We've got the engine block in a black on there, and it's looking pretty good so far. So let's get started with the engine heads. These are just blacked out, but obviously they've got a little bit of the red insert showing up in there, looking quite tasty. In we go, and then in we go on this side. Then we can move on to getting the innards done, and then onto the front of this beautiful engine, because you've got to get everything in first. So let's jump up a little bit. It is double overhead cams, so we've got 2 camshafts on each side. Then we've also got 4 spark plugs on each side as well. So 4 camshafts in total, 8 spark plugs in total, plus 4 cam gears, 1 on the end of each camshaft. I'm going to crack on, get all of them in, then we'll move on to the front. There we go. That's all the innards done. Let's jump down and get these timing belts in. 1 on that side and 1 on this side. Then the timing cover, which we have done in the sort of darker grey. You can see there is a little bit of difference between that and the oil pan there. Looking pretty sweet. The water pump's in a lighter grey. But again, it's hard to see the difference. They are incredibly close. It's my own fault. Then we got all the idle rollers. They're all blacked out, along with the crankshaft pulley blacked out and the water pump pulley blacked out as well. So I'll get all of them in. In fact, before we do that, we'll do the alternator in a black on this side. Too shiny, really, for the greys, and the power steering pump in just a lighter grey there. I'll get the rest of these in, and we'll move on. There we go. Now let's get the belts in. We got 1 belt on this side, 1 belt on the other side. Then we've got that belt tensioner, which we have kept in the black just because. And then 1 more idle roller just on there in the black as well. Looking pretty sweet. If we nip down here, it's the first splash of red in our oil filter. Looking quite tasty. With the second splash in the fuel filter there. Looking good. Onto the engine head covers then. These are in officially a dark grey, but it's lighter than the light grey. So there we go. On we go with that. It is incredibly light, but it does fit it quite well. So we kept it as it was. I was going to adjust it to try and match it more in with the oil pan, but it looks good nonetheless. So let's get it in with the ignition coils, which I haven't bothered painted because they're getting covered up anyway. On with the other head. In you go there, all bolted up and ready to go. Come on, we can do it. In you go, last bolt. There we go. Then we've got them ignition coils. In you go, and in you go. Then we've got the coil covers, which I have done in a pearl red on there, just to add some more of that red to the top of the engine. Looking pretty sweet. The intake manifolds in a black, just mean in the middle. Looking quite tasty there. Then we've got the throttle, which is officially in a light grey, but yeah, it's very dark. So we're just going to leave it as it is. On you go there. Then we've got the fuel rails, which we've tried to match with the pearl red, but it didn't quite go to plan. So they're quite close, but not exact on there, but they're looking good nonetheless. Then the last piece to go on is these beautiful exhaust manifolds, which we've left just in their performance parts chrome finishing. Hopefully it's going to match in with the exhaust that stick out the back of that beautiful bumper there. So we'll check that a little bit later on. But there's that beautiful engine all finished, ready to be dropped into our beautiful RS6. I'm going to grab some pictures, then we'll get it done. Time to see how good this engine's going to look inside our beautiful RS6. Let's get it off the stand and let's get it dropped into that beautiful car. In you go. Get the crane put away and then let's take a look. The heads are a little bright, but I like it because it takes away from the engine bay on there. That's looking smart. The two-tone or the alternating air takes on there is looking pretty good. The black, the red, and the greys. Bluey greys, but greys nonetheless. Looking very smart under there indeed. Liking that. Let's get you closed. Let's get you up in the air. Get the gearbox, drive shafts, and some exhaust in. That's the one I was looking for right there. Just completely forgot what I was looking for. Up we go then, starting with the gearbox, which we've got in a dark grey. As you can see, it is quite light. It's almost the same colour. Yeah, they're almost all the same colour anyway. So let's just crack on. Starter in a black on there, and then that drive shaft is also blacked out. Let's get you all bolted up, ready to go into the grey, looking quite good. Then we've got the exhaust, which I have just kept as it was from the factory. Well, not from the factory, because we changed it to performance parts, but the colour that they were from the factory, because I want to see how it lines up with the colours underneath. So let's take a step away, follow that chrome exhaust all the way down. Not quite the same. A little bit of a shame. Not far off, though. Quite pleased with that. We'll leave it as it is. As you can see in there, you got this oval, which is a darker colour anyway, and then the chrome sort of tips sticking through further back, so it won't make any difference. Still looks good, and nonetheless, there we go. I'm going to get the wheels done, windows tinted, liquids topped up, and get this beautiful RS6 outside in the sun, ready to go and tear up that drag strip. Well, here she is then, all finished, our beautiful Audi RS6 Avant DTM. Looking absolutely stunning, if I do say so myself. Love this livery. Again, I believe it's made by French Toast, but it is included with the actual car mod. That engine in there, very dark, but looking absolutely fantastic. Loving that. Now, this mod is made by Lit, but it is a little bit of collaboration. RobG helped with all the configs, and GRLDYLEE made this beautiful body kit for the DTM edition right here. Absolutely stunning. Well done to all three of you. Looks fantastic. Link in the description below if you want to go and grab this one yourself. Let's talk about the rims. The rims I've gone for today are the GW500, and in my opinion, they're the closest to the actual Gumball car that was raced in a black and looking fantastic. We have kept it on the Toyo race tyres, which is a tyre pack by Payne, available through his Patreon. Looking pretty good with them chrome red brake calipers just sticking through there. The rims, they are a 21-inch rim. They've got ET of 40 on them to bring them all the way out. They're 275 width and a 25 profile at the front. Slightly different down the back. Still a 21-inch rim, still ET of 40 and 275 width. But the backs have got a 30 profile instead of a 25. Just because the 30s at the front, they were clipping a little bit with them arches. So we changed it ever so slightly. Absolutely fantastic. Let's check out the back. I've not actually seen the back of this at all yet. Not too bad. The back seats just very plain and basic. For our front seats, we've obviously got our Nismo Recaro seats. Looking beautiful in there. And the steering wheel's got a bit of that body-coloured grey blue on there. Looking fantastic. And the interior in here is spectacular. Loving that. But let's get the AXK V8 started. See what she sounds like. Nice mean grumble there for the tick over or idle. But let's give it some gas. Not as mean as I thought it was going to be, but it's got a nice grumble to it. Liking that one. Sounding good, and nonetheless, let's get it onto the dyno. Let's see what the horsepower is and what this beast's drag rating will be. Here we are then on the dyno with the Audi RS6 Avant DTM Gumball 3000 Rally Edition with a V8 AXK engine and 973 factory horsepower. How much have we added today, and what is its drag rating? A gain of 1,028 horsepower. A whole new engine plus a little bit more. 106%, bringing us up to bang on 2,000 horsepower. I love that. That's definitely very impressive. Quite a cool little feature there. With a drag rating of 999. I kind of a little bit saw that coming. This thing is insane. It's four-wheel drive. It's got 2,000 horsepower. It should be pretty incredible on the drag strip. Let's take a look at the gearbox tuning setup for today. There she is, a 2.45 ratio, 105 kilometers an hour in first gear, up to a 448 kilometers an hour in fifth gear. Not quite sure if we'll quite make it, but hopefully we'll get very, very close to that top end. ECU fully tuned and ready to go. Obviously, no carburetors in this one. So let's get onto the drag strip and see what we can do with the Audi RS6. Back at Juneway Stripe Raceway, loving it with our Audi RS6 Avant DTM. King of the Sands, 1 mile, and obviously A-Class. Pay the 1,000 entry fee. And who have we got today? I can already see a couple of unicorns on there. Let's have a look. We've got Payne or Dead Bob in the version 2 unicorn version versus the version 3 unicorn. Jackal's in the Stealth Bone Shaker against my brother, Just Sam, in the unicorn version 3. There we go. A couple of Barefoot V12 Ford F100s, a Ford Mustang Drag versus a version 2 Unicorn, Drag Edition, a Bone Shaker versus a version 3 Unicorn, the VM Drag Lenticalope, the previous Speederboard champion, now been knocked off by the Speederboard Crusher, against the Unicorn version 4, the Leo Block Unicorn, still loving that one. And then at the top here, 2 more version 3 Unicorns, just rounding off the pack, making it interesting. Our first race is against the version 3 Unicorn, so let's get into it and see if we can win. 2 cars with absolutely stunning liveries. You've got the beautiful Unicorn over there looking great with its white wheels and its turbos sticking up through the engine. And then we've got the Audi in the Gumball 3000 livery. Absolutely loving that. Will we be able to beat the Unicorn? Let's get in. Let's find out. Let's go. Off the line, into second. Come on, little Audi, into third. We obviously know from previous experience that the Unicorns are very good, but looks like we've got an early lead that hopefully we can hold on to. Not going to be like the DeLorean all over again, where it's just going to fly past us and take the win from beneath us. Let's get across the finish line and see what our times are. Across the line, what have we got? 8.442 to the quarter of a mile. Not bad from an estate Audi. 20.743 to the 1 mile with a top speed of 409 kilometers an hour. That's impressive there. So we did all right. It was still pretty close, but happy enough with the result. Let's get in and see who we're up against next. I know it's another Unicorn, but will it be Payne? Well, unfortunately, my brother's out again. It doesn't seem to be very good at this drag racing malarkey. Jackal is still in the Bone Shaker Stealth against the Barefoot V12 Ford F100. We are up against Payne because he did make it through in that beautiful version 2 Unicorn. Lots of Unicorns still in it, and then one Lenticalope, the VM Drag Edition, my favourite little beast. Let's get into it, try and beat Payne. Second race, second Unicorn. Different livery though, so I'm very happy with that. Still an awesome livery. Absolutely loving it. I'd say is a better than the Audi's livery, but the Audi's livery is still absolutely incredible. They both got the same sort of colour scheme, just one of them splashing a bit more green, one of them splashing a bit more red. Can we win against Payne though in the Unicorn? Let's find out. Let's go. Off the line, into second. Come on, little Audi. Into third. Where are you, Payne? They're not anywhere near us at the moment. Into fourth. We're still in the lead. Definitely happy about that. Hopefully we can maintain this lead up to the finish line and not get overtaken by Payne and go out in the second round. So I definitely wouldn't be happy about that. Let's get across the line and see what we've got. What have we got for this one then? 8.442. Our first run was 8.422. So slightly slower than our first run there. At 20.784 to the 1 mile. Again, slightly slower, but the top speed still the same. 409 kilometers an hour. A little bit better on that one in regards to how we did against the version 3 Unicorn. Version 2, I don't even know which version. Against the Unicorn, but not quite as good as our first run. Let's see if we can improve on that in round 3. So we had the showdown against Payne that we won, and now we've got the showdown against the Jackal in the Bone Shaker Stealth. Pretty good. Only one Unicorn left in there. The other opponent is our Lenticalope VM Drag Edition. But first, we got to get through Jackal. Let's see if we can beat him. That Stealth Edition Bone Shaker is mean and nasty, and I love it. It's absolutely insane. Driven by Jackal this round against our beautiful RS6 Avant Audi. Let's get in. Try and beat the Hot Wheels Bone Shaker Stealth. Let's go. Off the line, into second. A little bit late there. Hopefully that doesn't ruin us. Does look like we've pulled away in front, but we know that cars can definitely come from behind and steal the win from you. So let's hope that doesn't happen today. Sorry, Jackal. I'm hoping you're going to stay behind us and lose this race so we can make it into the final and see who we're up against with our beautiful RS6. Across the line, what have we got? Was it faster? 8.570, definitely not. 20.928 to the 1 mile, again a little bit slower, but the top speed is exactly the same at 409 kilometers an hour. We've made it into the final. Who will we be up against? Is it another Unicorn, or will we be against the Lenticalope VM Drag Edition? So we are in the final, we've made it, and we are up against the second place on the speederboard, a Lenticalope VM Drag. Hopefully it's not going to be as tuned as the build that we did, and we can beat it with our beautiful RS6. It looks nice in white. Not quite as good as it does with our beautiful livery on it when we raced it, though. But we still know it is insane. Four-wheel drive, twin-turbo V8. Absolute monster against the AXK V8 Audi RS6 Avant. Let's get in. Let's go. Off the line, into second. Come on, little Audi, into third. We are pulling away. Hopefully it stays that way. Into fourth. Doesn't look like it's catching us at the moment. Let's get this beast into top gear. Get it down the runway. Runway, drag strip, and get it across the finish line. Flashbacks of old videos there. Come on, little Audi. We can do this. Taking that beautiful win across the line. We did win the tournament. Definitely happy about that. 8.409 is actually our quickest run of the day to the quarter of a mile as well. 20.732, our fastest to the 1 mile as well. And the top speed at 409 kilometers an hour, exactly the same. But we're very happy with that. We got the tournament win. We're taking all of the winnings. And we got the fastest speed of the day from the RS6 Avant in our final run. Let's go and collect our winnings. Get this beautiful car back to the garage and see if we can sell it on for a tasty little profit. There it is. Definitely happy about drag strip winnings. 11,250. Obviously, minus our entry fee. 10,250 up before we even see how much we can sell the beautiful little Audi for. Speaking of which, let's get back to the garage. Let's get this beast sold. Not too shabby from the Audi RS6 Avant on the drag strip today, with a fastest speed to the quarter of a mile of 8.409 seconds. 1 mile at 20.732 seconds with a top speed of 409 kilometers an hour from this beast. Absolutely insane. Really have enjoyed building this one today. That livery is absolutely stunning. Excellent work. Again, I believe by French Toast. Does put it 21st on the speederboard out of 66 vehicles we've done here on the channel. Keeping the torch on while we're going around the outside today just to get a slightly better look. Looking pretty good, but let's talk some facts and figures about this beast. Now, obviously, I bought the car for 44,743 at the beginning of the episode and could have sold it and made a little bit of money, 1,561 right at the very beginning, but we didn't do that. We spent another 85,970 upgrading, tuning, and painting this beautiful Audi to how you see it in front of you today, pitting our total spend at a grand total of 130,713. Will we be able to make some money from this beautiful car? Let's get in. Let's take a look. Well, there she is, all 100% finished. Absolutely fantastic. The engine ramped up to bang on to 1,000 horsepower, a gain of 106% with all of the tuning done right on there. Absolutely insane. We spent 130,713 in total. Can we make a profit? Yes, we can. 109,062 profit from that one with a sale price of 239,775 plus our drag strip winnings leaves us with a total profit of 119,312. Beautiful creation from Lit, RobG and GRLDYLEE. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, probably not, but still, this car is fantastic nonetheless. That engine is absolutely beautiful, but it is time to say goodbye. Link in the description below if you want to grab this one for yourself, and it is a lot of fun and pretty good on the drag strip, so I do recommend it. Off you go, though. We'll take our tasty bit of profit right now. Thank you very much. What have we got up next? Let's take a look. The Easter eggs are all gone, so we're back on the truck again. And this is obviously, if I can get somewhere where I can access it, there we go, the beautiful Lamborghini Huracan. This is the Performante edition with just under 30,000 kilometers on there, so it's pretty good. We got it from the auction house, and it's not in great condition. The interior is not bad. The frame is awful, and everything else is a bit above 30%. Did I get a good deal on this one? No, but not by much, so I'll take that. 83,741 is what I paid, and I could sell it for 82,022, losing out on 1,719 from the beautiful Huracan. We have done a Huracan before, but not the Performante edition. What engine comes in this one? It is the V10 double overhead cam 980-01 with 637 of factory horsepower in there. We're obviously going to be tuning it, upgrading it, making it as fast and as insane as we absolutely can from this beautiful Lamborghini Huracan. And that's what we're going to be working on next time. A very exciting build. I do love a performance edition or a special edition at Lamborghini. They are pretty insane. What did you think of today's beautiful Audi build? Do let me know in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button while you're there if you did enjoy it. And do leave me a cheeky little like. I'm always happy to hear suggestions of cars you guys want to see built. As long as they're in the game or someone can mod them in for me, I'm happy to build them. I just love building cars. Thank you so much for watching. Have a beautiful day and a wonderful weekend, whatever it is you're getting up to. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.